Hi, I'm State Representative Gary Day. Welcome to Legislative Report. Today, we're at the Kutztown Fire Company in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. I'm proud to be here with our Chief, Troy Ardnt. Chief, welcome to the program today.
Thank you, Gary. Honor to have you here, and great talking to you.
Well, we have a couple questions for you. Some of the things I want to do today is I want to talk about the fire company. I want to talk about the lifeblood of the fire company, our volunteers, and also about the service to the community that the fire department provides. So let's start off a little bit with what I know you're proud of is the fire department itself. Tell us a little bit about the history of Kutztown Fire Department.
Well, Kutztown Fire Company was organized in 1908. We just had our anniversary in 2008, had a big celebration in Kutztown. And I say we're very proud of the history over that 106 years now. There are many, many, many volunteers that made this company what it is and contributed to the proud history of the company.
Well, and you know what? One of the things I like to do is I like to understand, now you're the chief. You've ascended to the position of chief of the fire company. And tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get involved in the fire company?
Well, I grew up in Lyons, which is about 2.5 miles south of Kutztown, and we grew up right aside of the fire company. My grandfather was the fire chief with Lyons back in 50s, 60s, and being that close, kind of became a fire company rat. Every time the siren went, I would run out of the yard, see where the trucks are going, and every opportunity I got to go over there, I would be there. Back in that day, Lyons Fire Company had a softball team, and the ball field was right aside of the fire company, and constantly the fire trucks would be out watering the field down. When it was in the summer, dusty, and every time the truck was there, I was there, and it just kind of grows on you after a while, and just became part of my life.
So, I had the same experience. When I was 10 years old, I lived right behind a volunteer fire company. And when that siren went off, I jumped on my bike, ran down to the fire company and watched those trucks roll. And we're wondering who were they going to help in our community. Now, you talked a little bit about living by one yourself down in Lyons and all the community service that our fire companies provide through the years. We have, in this part of Pennsylvania, a lot of smaller municipalities. Kutztown's actually a larger one in this region, but it's still a small municipality which relies heavily on a volunteer fire company like Kutztown here. So one of the things that I think about is the lifeblood is the volunteers. I want to find out a little bit more about what it's like to be a volunteer. I know you're grateful, you said it in your opening comments, for all the people throughout those 100 years that have helped and volunteered many different ways. Now there's many ways. You can run with the trucks, you mentioned that. You can work in the social hall. Tell us a little bit about when you're running with the trucks. Okay, I have a young son, he's 15 years old right now, and I'm watching this program and I think, boy, isn't that dangerous? But on one of your trucks, it says everyone comes home. Can you tell us a little bit about, for all volunteers that come here, tell us what it's like when you're a volunteer and you come here and some of the safety procedures that you invoke to make sure everybody's safe.
Well, at any fire accident scene, and even just being around the station, safety is the most important thing we do. And like it's on the front of the truck, everyone goes home. And that's a basically statewide model that was started years ago, and we try to instill that in our people. We take a lot of steps over the years, just progressing with the fire service. Things like years ago, back in I believe 2006, we brought a command vehicle. Part of the reason for that was safety, to be able to have better control of a scene, a better command structure, have more people at a command post in a major incident that you can help monitor safety, among other things. We have safety officers at scenes. And most important thing, everybody watches out for each other. We don't do freelancing at calls. Everybody works as teams, and you always have each other's backs. And we do train in that. There are a lot of articles out there, there are videos out there that the firefighters watch, and we instill to be safe, It is a dangerous occupation, there's no doubt about it, but we take every steps, and even with personal protective equipment, we buy the best personal protective equipment we can. We don't buy the cheaper bunker gear, we don't buy the cheaper breathing apparatus. We make sure the firefighters are protected as well as possible.
One of the interesting things I've always thought is that if you have volunteers out there, they're helping you save on salaries and certain benefits. They're helping you save the municipality and the company. But so what you do in return is make sure that they have the best equipment to stay safe. And that's reasonable and fair for people sitting at home watching this program to say, hey, maybe I will let my son get involved in that. Or daughter. A daughter can get involved as well. There's many things to do in the fire company. And I just want to say, if you call 610-683-8703, that's the fire company's telephone number.
Yep.
And people can call that number, ask for your extension, the chief's extension, and say, hey, listen, this is Gary Day, and here's my phone number if they leave a message, and say, I'd like to become involved. And that's one way to do that. You can run with the trucks when you do that, and there's other opportunities if you don't want to do that. If you get into that and find you don't like that, you can work in the social hall, and there's many other volunteer opportunities. So let's a little bit more about volunteers. When a volunteer comes on, so you've said you take care of the safety of that individual, but also these individuals over time become well-trained members of this organization. So to have discipline, you don't give them too much responsibility that they have to be worried or nervous on the first call, but over time you step up that responsibility. That responsibility can help them become better individuals, more valuable to their community, and have sellable skills. I mean, some of your volunteers must go on to work at the ambulance or maybe a paid fire department. Do you have stories like that here?
We do. We have a lot of our members work for local ambulance crews as their career. We have a couple members that have went from here and become professional firefighters.
Oh, okay.
We have at least 3 that I can think of off the top of my head that either have or had careers as professional firefighters, and we have at least 2 more in the works that are making that a career.
Oh, that's
so
great.
they come and enjoy it and see the value of what they're doing and the way they can help people, and thinking, hey, this is a tremendous career opportunity to get into, and there are a lot of college classes and different things out there you can do to get to that opportunity.
That's great. So tell us a little bit about when you become a volunteer and you become into, you've said it many times to me, into the family, the Kutztown Fire Company family. When I come out here and I meet with you guys or see you guys, different groups or at events or at a parade or on the scene at an emergency event, I can see that. Tell the viewers a little bit about that family atmosphere. So number 1, we make sure everybody goes home. Number 2, just what's it like when you come here and you're part of the family? A little bit of ribbing, a little bit of fun, but a lot of discipline as well, and making sure everybody's safe. Tell them your story.
Yeah, when you come here, the first thing you do is have a little meeting with me up in my office, and myself, maybe one of the other officers, kind of tell you the history of the fire company and what we do and how we do it and what is expected of them. And when a member joins, it's kind of an introduction period, and a lot of it depends on your level of training. We have college students from the university that come, and some of them have a tremendous amount of training when they get here. So obviously, a student like that is going to be expedited a little quicker. They'll be able to do things a lot quicker than somebody else. But if you come and have no training, we just slowly introduce you to the Kutztown Fire Company, slowly introduce you to the different trucks, what their functions are at different type of fires, and the operations of the trucks. On our one Thursday a month, we do our meeting and maintenance night. Then we start putting you on different trucks to learn the operation of the trucks, learn where the equipment is, learn how the equipment works. That way, when you get to a fire, we're not going to take a new person and a month after they join, throw them into a burning building or have them on a hydraulic tool trying to cut a person out of a car. That's a great liability to the fire company, to myself, and also to you. So we're going to teach you this stuff. We're going to teach you how to stay safe, and we're going to teach you how to start helping at a scene and be a productive member at the emergency call.
That's wonderful. And we see that among all the volunteer fire companies in the 187th district. And we're here in Kutztown today talking to the Kutztown Fire Chief, but I know your brethren and all the different fire companies would feel the same way. Anybody within the sound of my voice who wants to volunteer, every community has a volunteer operation that you can be part of. So you can call my office or you can call the chief here, and I'm sure he'd get you to the right fire company that's close to where you live. So the last thing I want to talk about the 2 last things about the volunteers is the satisfaction. Now, I'm a state representative. I'm in public service. I have satisfaction. I know as the chief that, it's not the pay that brings you back. It's the satisfaction of providing for your community and making sure that that disciplinary hierarchy is working very well, and everybody remains safe, and that brings you satisfaction. So to the volunteer, can you talk a little bit about some stories? Did some young guy come back to you and say, hey, something about being satisfied? Can you tell the viewers how satisfying it is to run with the fire company?
There are a lot of instances that we had like that. And like I say, there's nothing more than the satisfaction that you get. And any firefighter in this area, and even EMS person, will tell you that there's no greater satisfaction than going to emergency call, knowing you help somebody, and they're recovering, and they're going to be fine. They lead a productive life because you cut them out of a car, you administer an IV, you save their house, and things like that. One story that probably sticks in my mind, and our mind, actually probably two of them. One of them, we had a serious accident on 737 in Greenwich Township. It was probably back in 2005, 2006. A young girl, she was a college student, didn't negotiate a turn, went through a fence, and put her car into a tree. And she was very heavily entrapped. Both her legs were badly damaged. She was actually in theater up at Kutztown University. Really put her career in jeopardy. We worked very hard to get her out of the car, got her to medevac, got her to the hospital. EMS did a tremendous job. And a couple months after that, got a phone call. I believe it was from her parents. She wanted to come and meet us. And she came to the station in her wheelchair, both legs broken, cast up to her waist, and sat here and was so grateful and just couldn't have been happier. And to the point when she graduated, they had a little graduation party. She lived over in Lyons. She was staying there and invited a bunch of firefighters over to her party, and her parents and grandparents were there and things like that. And she's to the point now that she has resumed her career and she can do that. And when something like that happens, there are not words that can, you can't put into words how that makes you feel.
Right.
And there was another one that we assisted. I remember assisting on a rescue up at Hawk Mountain, and delayed. We assisted for years. Every day in the anniversary, or every week, we get a fruit basket here at the fire company.
Oh, wow.
Different things like that. We have people that have sent pizzas over, knowing that they'll send me an email and they'll send food over just for and when that happens, that just, there's no amount of money in the world that can replace that.
Right. Well, I appreciate you sharing those stories with us. Hopefully that spurs somebody watching this program to say, I'd really like to be involved. It's obvious that you take care to have individual safety for each individual person. Also, for the team, there's equipment that you buy for the team entirely to be able to do some of the things you just talked about. Now, I know you have some new hydraulic equipment that's going to make things like entrapment a lot easier procedure to perform. Tell us a little bit about that new equipment that you have.
Well, that's part. We actually have a new rescue truck in order. Early 2015, we'll be taking delivery of a Sutphin SVI heavy rescue truck. And one thing, we looked at some new technology in conjunction with our Hearst representatives are what called hydraulic tools. They're actually battery-operated tools, which at the beginning I was very hesitant because I was not a big fan of batteries, going dead. But these lithium batteries, they give quite a punch for what they have, and it keeps improving. And we wound up buying 3 tools, invested about $30,000 in it, probably a little more than that with everything. But part of the reason we did that also, remember back in December 26th, day after Christmas, we had a major accident up in the interstate. That was the whole incident was hundreds of yards long, and wound up extricating about 19 people from cars. 11 different extrications on a snow-covered road. So we had to haul all our tools in, and you can't do the traditional extrication like that. Take your tools right off the truck. With the hydraulic wheels, the wheels only go so far. So these tools, in incidents like that, cars down ruined banks, are going to be a great addition to something like that, and it's really going to serve the public well over the years to come.
So that's great. So that equipment is part of the rescue truck.
Yep.
And like you said, we're always hesitant to go to new technology that has batteries. Is it going to be reliable? But you're finding that it is reliable.
Finding out it's very reliable.
And maybe even better to be able to be detached from the truck itself and go save people's lives. So the other thing that I always think, I call it a sexy piece of equipment, is the brush truck. We all live, even in a borough like Kutztown, we have a lot of farmland, a lot of open fields. Sometimes they do catch fire when it's drier. By the way, a quick public service announcement would be that look to your fire company, look to certain areas in the community to talk about when the brush conditions are bad, and try not to burn at home. But when you do have a field fire or something, explain how this brush truck works. It has a sprayer on the front, but go ahead, you explain how it works.
Yeah, we bought a couple of years ago, we actually bought it used. It's a 1994 Hummer, and the body was built by New Lexington with the brush equipment on. And it's kind of a showcase. I mean, people really catches people's eyes, but it's very functional as a brush truck. This truck can pretty much go anywhere. Like you said, it has sprayers on the front. It has a pump in the back with water. We use 1-inch forestry hose that we can go hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet into a woods or something like that. And it's just a tremendous addition to our brush and forest firing capabilities.
Well, Chief, that's all we have for the time for this segment. So we're going to be going on to another segment. We talk more about other parts of the fire company. I want to thank you for being with me today. It's not easy grilling you, but I know this is your life, and you gave us great answers, great information for volunteers who might want to come and volunteer. I hope everybody does. Give you a call, want to become involved. It's a great family atmosphere here, and I want to thank you for your time today. Thanks for inviting us into the fire company.
Thank you, Gary. It's a pleasure having you here. And like always, we appreciate everything the state does to help with the state grant and things like that. We appreciate all the help that we get from the state. So.
Did you know that Violet Oakley was the first female artist to receive a large commission for artwork done in a United States Capitol building? In 1902, Joseph Houston, designer and architect for the 3rd Harrisburg Capitol building, commissioned Violet Oakley to paint murals for the governor's reception room. He believed that Oakley's contribution would add interest to the building and act as an encouragement of women of the state. Prior to beginning her work for the Capitol, Oakley set out to England to conduct research for her murals. Upon return, she decided to center her artwork on William Penn and the founding of Pennsylvania. Oakley made sure that Penn's ideals of justice and peace could be seen throughout her work. In 1906, she completed 13 murals titled The Founding of the State of Liberty Spiritual, and was placed in sequential order around the governor's reception room. These murals were some of the first to be installed in the Capitol. When Edwin Austin Abbey, another artist for the Capitol, died in 1911, Oakley was offered another opportunity to create murals for the unfinished Senate and Supreme Court chambers. Her work on the Senate murals, including International Understanding, was completed by 1919. Oakley then completed the Supreme Court murals, including the Divine Law, by 1927. Oakley is said to be the principal artist for the Capitol, with a total of 43 murals on display. She remains one of the greatest muralists in the United States. Now you know.
Hi, I'm State Representative Gary Day, and welcome back to Legislative Report. With me today is Stump from the Kutztown Fire Company, and we're going to talk a little bit about other things that go on at the fire company to help support the fire company, in particular, the social hall. But before we go there, 52 years. Yes. 52 years of running with this fire company. You're also a volunteer firefighter firefighter, right? So you're out there.
That is correct.
On the scene, responding. First, I should welcome you to the program. Welcome you here, Stu.
Thank you.
And tell us a little bit about 52 years as a volunteer firefighter. What keeps bringing you back every year?
Well, it's just something that grows on you, and you can't let it go because of the satisfaction you get from helping people. I've always been active in the community, and this just was natural for me to take this up as a avocation.
How do you help a new volunteer stay safe?
Well, first of all, the chief had said about all the things we do to try to maintain safety, not only at the scene, but in the station as well. And all of us help whenever we can to direct the younger firefighter in the proper manner to do stuff.
So you help keep them safe as an individual, but also teach them the safety rules that help keep the team safe as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we also have a lot of equipment. Do you think we have enough equipment here, or we could always use another piece of equipment to keep everybody safe, right?
Well, we're constantly upgrading all of our equipment. We do try to maintain the best equipment we can afford. So that's where we get donations from the community, as well as the grants and everything. We do fundraisers here to try to raise money for our equipment, and it's just an ongoing process.
So volunteers can call the fire company and say, hey, listen, I might not want to run out in an emergency scene, run on the trucks. Sounds like it's not my cup of tea, but I want to help the fire company. Businesses can make donations, contributions, financial contributions, or other types of contributions. People can make contributions, but also people can help with fundraisers and get that word out. One of the other things that's so important here is Kutztown Fire Company has a social hall, and you can talk a little bit about maybe the history or the importance of the social hall.
Well, first of all, the community is a tremendous support for us. They have always been there for us whenever we needed anything. Our social hall is, you have to, when you're 21 as a firefighter, you have to join the fire company, and you can't do that until you're 21 years old. So we have junior members prior to that, and then they become a member of the fire company, and they are an official member of the truck crew then. But our social hall is run by, well, the entire fire company is run by a board of governors, which is a lot of people from not just firefighters, but it's from all the different organizations within the fire company. And the social hall, many, many years ago when the fire company first was started, the fire company was the hub of the community. And it's been that way for a long time. So everything centered around the fire company. Nowadays, it's not like that anymore because there's so many other things going on. But our social hall has continued over all these years. We have a wonderful social hall. We have, it's a bar room. We have bowling alleys. And so there's league bowling going on during the weeks. And then we have a wonderful kitchen staff. They do a great job of preparing food, and so it's a community gathering.
So we have an upstairs that's a big hall, so you can have wedding receptions here or any kind of event, a birthday party or anything. They can call the fire company's phone number, again, is 610-683-8703, and people can call that number and book the social hall, the open banquet hall, with great food. We do that with one of our senior events. And then downstairs, there's a traditional place where you can come and eat. Now, let's talk a little bit about that. For people in the community who want to come and support, whether you live in Kutztown, Maxatawny, or anywhere in the region, and you want to come here, tell us a little bit about, I think the food's great when I come here. So tell us, I think we have quantity, quality, good prices, but tell us how are we able to do that? And those funds go toward supporting the fire company, isn't that right?
Anything that our profit is to help run the fire company. So whatever we make in the social quarters has to go back into the fire company.
Right, okay. So people can come here, get great food, a good quantity of food. I think it's well priced, competitively priced for the type of food that we get, but then also if we are making a profit on that, people can know those dollars are coming right back into their fire company. leveraging those volunteers, helping to keep them safe so that they can keep us safe. And I think that's a great avenue. Plus, now when you come to the social hall, everybody's pretty nice and welcoming when you come in here. Do you need to be a member to come in and eat?
No, to purchase food, you do not have to be a member. We are all, our normal business hours. You can come in and buy food. The only thing you cannot buy is alcohol. Alcohol, you have to be a member of the company to purchase alcohol.
Okay. And what is the rate now to be a member? It's an annual rate?
$10 a year.
$10 a year.
Yeah, that's pretty cheap for what you can get out of it, yes.
Right. And that membership, you know, is very well priced, I think, for what you get. Well, you know, people can also call if they have events to book. I talked about that. They would call that same fire company number. Is that right?
Yeah, we have, that number gets you into a menu.
Okay.
And then from the menu, you have to choose who you want to actually want to leave the message for, whether it's the fire chief, the president of the fire company, the bar room, but it's a menu, and when you listen to the menu, it's all self-explanatory.
Let me give that number again. It's 610-683-8703. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, and then people call that number if you want to volunteer for the fire company, run with the trucks, go out on the emergency scenes and be safe with these guys. If you want to work inside in one of the fundraisers, you can call that number as well. That's a clearinghouse number. Ask for the chief or Stu here, and they'll be able to get you in the right spot. If you live in a community outside, you know, pretty far away from Kutztown, you can still call here or call my office. That number will be up at the end of the program, and we'll get you in touch with the right people. It's very important. I love living in the 187th District because we are a volunteer-based community, and it's very important that we all step up and do what we can to help keep our fire companies healthy and financially sound. Stu, I want to thank you for being here today. I really appreciate your time with us, and thank you for your service to our community.
Well, we appreciate you coming here. Thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have for Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Gary Day. If you have any state-related questions, you can call my office, and we'll try to help you with that. Today's program was here at the Kutztown Fire Company. We're extremely proud of the work they've done for over 100 years here in Kutztown. We have many volunteer fire companies throughout the 187th District, and I urge you to consider getting involved and making that phone call here to their company or to my office, and we'll get you involved with the right people. It's a great community asset, and it's a great thing to be part of. State Representative Gary Day, thank you for watching today.